Their father made a choice. Now they carry the cost. Four siblings, one broken legacy. Can they break free before it's too late? Welcome to Ife Ancestral Tales. This is Cost of the Father's Sin. A village in Edo State of Nigeria, where the morning sun rose like a weary witness, lived the Ekatos family. Four siblings. Osage, Efe, Osas and Ese moved through the world like those marked by an invisible ink. Their stories, steeped in sorrows too familiar to be coincident. The village didn't speak their name with pride or affection. No, their names were murmured with guided pity, laced with a fear villagers dare not name aloud. The cursed one, they call them. Their lives had become cautionary tales, lessons told to children under moonlight about the danger of unknown sins. No one could quite trace the beginning, but everyone agreed the Ekatos children were haunted by something beyond the flesh. Osage, the firstborn, stood tall with the strength of a man carved from the Iroko tree, but carries the loneliness of a forgotten tree in the forest. He is a builder by trade. He crafts homes for others, dreaming of one for himself, a house filled with laughter and children, but love eluded him like a shadow at dogs. Women fled after a few visits. Some said a child entered their body when he spoke of marriages. Others swore they saw something whisper in the dark. The bravest called him Osage, the unwanted. He watched his friends marry, rise family, celebrate anniversaries, and he built the bed they laid on, the wall that sheltered their joy. And he is alone. Efe, the elder's daughter, once danced like fire and laughed like water. She had found love in Peter, a fisherman with eyes like calm tides. Their union was celebrated with song and roasted yam by the bank of the Ovie River. The gods themselves seemed to please until something changed. One evening, Peter went out to fish and never returned. His body surfaced days later, lips blue, hands clutching nothing but waters, eyes wide as if they had seen beyond the veil. Yeah? Efe so broke quietly. She wore mourning not as a cloth, but as skin. Her voice talked beneath clenched teeth. The laughter never came back again. Osas, the second daughter, had the kind of beauty that made even the sun pause. Her skin glowed, her work was reading, her eyes held songs unwritten. Love found her in Godwin, a young trader from Benin City. Their betrayal was the talk of the three villages. Colored were chosen, goats slaughtered, drum reacts, but joy evaporated like mist. On the morning of the wedding, Godwin vanished. No trace, no word. He did not show for the wedding. Guests stood in awkward silence, their eyes avoiding Osas, who stood trembling in a ceremonial wrapper. That night, she turned her reflection from the mirror. She stopped looking into anything that would reflect the pain. And when she spoke, it was only to ask, "Why me?" Even that gave no reply. Ese, the last born, was cursed in simpler, crueler ways. He was the village jester, though not by choice, Nothing he tried succeeded. His yam seed rotting, his firewood turned down. Even the dog avoided his well at the marketplace. They call him Ese, the useless one. The name stuck. His shoulder coughed with shame, and his dreams dry like the Harmattan winds. Sometimes he stood by the river, staring at his reflection until it blurred, wishing it would vanish altogether. And their mother, poor woman, Mama Ekato, had become the living portrait of sorrows. Her back bent with unseen burdens. Her hands, once strong from pounding yam and weaving mats, now tremble from too many unanswered prayers. Week after week, she climbed the shrine hill barefooted, leaving behind goats, pigeon, even the prize family roster. She lights candle of palm oil and whisper to the gods who would not answer. Who calls my children? What did we do? The silence became her companion. But one night, truth knocked. Under the old mango tree that had shaded births and burial, Mama Ekato sung to her knees, clutching the wrapper that she had once swindled her children. Her tears falling to the earth like forgotten offering. The night held its breath. Then from the shadow, an old woman emerged. She did not walk. She draped like memory. Her skin looked like tree bark, aged by century. Her eyes glow like ember cold. Her voice was the dry sign of wind through beetle leaves. She said, "You plead with gods who know you not, but the land remembers. Your children suffer not for their sins, but for their fathers." Mama's heart slammed in her chest. Her lips parted, but no words came. "Seek the truth," the woman said, "or their pain will never end." And then, just like that, she was gone, swallowed by the night. As if she had never been there. Only a single white feather remained, glowing softly where she had stood. Mama picked it up. It was warm in her palm, a strange warm, not of this world. The wind stirred the tree, and as the feather floated gently into her laps, Mama Ekato knew the past was not done with them. The morning after the strange visitation, the sun refused to shine brightly, hiding behind a veil of mist, as if the heavens themselves sensed the stirring of ancient truth. Mama Ekato, her wrapper loosely tied, and her eyes rimmed with sleepless red, summoned her children. In her hands, she cradled the white feather as though it was holy scripture. It glowed faintly in the dawn light, unbothered by dust or wind, as still as truth unspoken. "I must tell you something," she said, her voice urged and raw. "Something I should have told you long ago." The siblings gathered close. Even Ese, who often lagged behind, sat cross-legged like a child again. She told them everything. Every whisper from the winds, every word from the old woman, every shadows in the night that now wore the name of their father, Papa Ekato. The children listened, mouth dry, heart pounding. Papa had died when Ese was still learning to walk. They remembered him. His laugh that sounded like oral drum, his love for dry bush meat, the way he stared too long into the tree at night. A hunter, they call him, a man who vanished for days and returned with meat, but no stories. But Mama's voice broke as she confessed. He was kind, yes, but something followed him. Secret he never gave me, and now they have found you instead. A silence fell so thick, it pressed against their chest. Osage, always the first to shoulder pains, stood slowly, his jaw clenched with decades of unanswered rejection. If he passed a curse to us, he said, then we must uncover it and return it. This ends now. The others nodded. Efe gripped her wrapper tightly. Osa looks to the distance, her eyes shimmering. Ese bowed his head, shame mixing with hope. They needed an answer in Ogawo, leave only with Pa Okio, the village elders, the keeper of memories, the one said to have danced with spirit and whispered with rain. Pa Okio's hut stood at the edge of the forest, beneath a veil of thick bush and mysteries. The walls were carved with symbols no one could read, eyes, animals, calling lies that seemed to move if stared at too long. Smoke from burning ehad trees coiled through the air, thick and sweet, wrapping around the siblings as they approached like unseen hands. Pa Okio sat cross-legged beside a bowl of glowing amber. His skin was wrinkled like woven leather, his eyes milky with age, but piercing like a gaze that had seen so much and remembered even more. They spoke. They told him of Mama's vision, the feather, the mango tree, the woman warning. He listened in silence, not moving, not blinking. Then slowly he began to hum, a sound low and gluttered, a tune older than speech. He spoke up a handful of nzu powder and threw it into the amber. The fire eased. The air thickened and the walls seemed to breathe. Your father, Pa Okios finally said, his voice like dry lips scraping stone, entered where men are warned not to go. He took what was sacred, a calabash meant for the spirit alone. He wanted powers to protect you perhaps, but he crossed the line. The land remembered. Osa gasped softly. Ese's hand trembled. You must go to the grove, Pa Okios continued. But know this, truth has teeth and it bites. With fear calling in their belly like smoke, the siblings obey. The path to the grove grew colder with each step. No bird sang. The tree bent low as if listening. The sun shone above, but beneath the canopy light became a stranger. The deeper they walk, the heavier the earth becomes, thick with unseen eyes. Then at last, they reached the heart of it. A clay, a stone, altar, old and cracked, its surface stained with something ancient and dark. Vine coiled around it like living things. The earth pulsed beneath their feet. Drawn by a force he couldn't name, Osage stepped forward and touched the altar. The world exploded. A gust of wind roared through the trees, knocking them backward, but the sound was more than wind. It was a wail, a scream of anguish, of betrayal, and then came the vision. So vivid, so real, it swallowed them. They saw him, their father, younger, stronger, his eyes wide with desperation. He knelt before the altar, his hand trembling as he reached for a glowing calabash, pulling with unnatural light. Beneath him, shadow moves. The forest cry out, "You will pay!" The spirit roar, "And your blood will pay!" Then darkness. The siblings scream and stumble away. The vision retreat, but not fading. That night, Osa dreams. The woman stood at the edge of her dreamscape, dressed in moonlight and mystery. Her voice, once a whisper, now echo like thunder wrapped in silk. The scenes is tied to the land. You must gather its memory to unknow the words. She raised a crooked finger and spoke the item. Sounds from your father's village. Sound from your mother's village. Sound from the crossroad where faith dances and shadow meet. Sound from the coast grove and water from obvious river where love was drawn. Before Osa could speak, the woman began to fade, but her final words landed like stone in her chest. Only when the land is satisfied will the coast release your names. Osa woke with tears on her face and the taste of earth in her mouth. The journey to redemption has begun. The vision had marked them. It lived behind their eyes, an echo in their bones. The burden of their father's transgression no longer belonged to the past. It stood now in the present, clawing at their names, trying to choke their destinies, but they would not be silent. They would not live and die as shadows of a sin they never committed. They would gather the sacred element and they would face whatever darkness stood between them and freedom. Osagie, the firstborn, carried the heavy silence of a man who had lost love to rumor and fear. But now, every step he took was carved with resolve. His journey led him to Okosa, their father's ancestral village, where the trees whisper betrayal and the soil warn memory like a shadow. As he stepped into the village, old women paused their sweeping and macho behind, shaking heads. Men turned their backs, their eyes sharp with resentment. Thief blood, someone spat at his feet. Osagie said nothing. He walked to the sacred compound where his father once played as a boy. The compound was overgrown, the earth hard, cracked like lip trysting for rain. He knelt. As his finger dug into the ground, the sky darkened. A ghost turned through the square, shaking like a wounded animal. Dust rose in spirals, and a voice rose in the wind. You cannot undo his crime. The wind struck him like a slap, but he did not falter. With eyes burning and hands steady, he filled his calabash with the crushed red earth, and he left without looking back. Efe traveled next to Eguare, the village of their mother, where memories live like ghosts and the river still whisper her name. They remember her there, but not with warmth. Women clutched their children tighter when she passed. One man said the river took him because of her sin. She said nothing. She made her way to the old well at the village center, a place where her mother once fetched water as a girl. There she knelt. As her finger touched the sand, the ground vibrated gently. The water in the well rippled, then suddenly still. Then a face. Peter. His eyes were open, mouth moving without sound, reaching towards her from the water. Peter! She choked out, reaching with trembling finger. Memories flooded her. His laughter, the warmth of his hands, the way he danced by the fire on their wedding night, the kiss he gave her before the river swallowed him whole. Tears streamed down her face. Forgive me, she whispered, though she knew it wasn't her fault. Then the vision faded, and with it, the tremor in her spirit. She gathered the sand and left. Her grief now forged onto purpose. It is well. At midnight, the air between walls grew thin. Osas and Ese walked the narrow path to Etienne's Obo, the dreaded crossroad where fate was believed to change shape and speak in riddles. The village feared the place where the forgotten death whisper and where choices become chain. The wind there did not blow, it watches. As they approached, shadow moved with intention, face formed in the tree, flickering between spirits and memories. On love, one shadow hissed, useless. Another whispered into a sincere. They say Frozo, his head buckled under the weight of his shame, but Osas reached out and gripped steady. They lie, she said, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. You are more than their words. Together, they stepped into the crossroad. The earth felt soft, almost warm, as if welcoming them back. They knelt, dug deep, and gathered the sand, even as the shadow hissed and screeched. But as their finger touched the soil, the air cleared. The spirit recalled their courage as silenced them. At dawn, they returned to the grove. It loomed like a cathedral of pain. The tree edge overhead their ancient jungle. The altar stood waiting as if it too had memories. No bed chipped, no incense bruise. The siblings kneeled in a cycle. As they dug into the earth, the grove awoke. A deafening wail echoed through the tree. Visions pierces their mind like arrows. Osagie standing alone at another man's wedding. Efe worship Peter's body pulled from the road. Osas abandoned at the altar. Ese mocked by laughing children. Their pain became years, became echoes, became storm. But Mama's prayer rose in their mind like a lullaby. They held hands and together they chanted, Spirit of the land, we seek holy truth. We offer sorrows. We offer blood. We offer hope. The wind still, the vision fade. And in that silence, the land accepted their offering. Then came the obvious river. If I lead them, her feet trembling but sure, the river gleamed in the moonlight. Deceptive gently, its voice whispered her name. If I knew at the river's edge, a reflection shimmer merging with Peter's for just a breath. A single trace fell into the river, ripping outwards like a drumstick. She filled the clay ball and the river did not rage. Under a full moon, they returned to parochials who waited with fire, incense, and a pot carved with ancient signals. He mixed the sand and water into a thick dark paste and said, This is not a portion, it is a memory, it is confession, it is reckoning. He lifted the pot high and poured the mixture over the siblings one by one. It stung like fire, burned like betrayal, chilled their ancestral judgment, but none moved away. They stood barefoot in the sacred clearing, soaked in memories wrapped in silence, and then at once they spoke. We do not deny our blood, but we will not carry its course. We return what is not ours. We reclaim our names. And then the earth beneath them trembled. The wind sighed, and from the tree, something unseen lifted like fog. The rituals was done. But the path to healing had only just begun. When one tree falls, the forest listens. But when it rises again, the earth rejoices. The siblings stood at the sacred shrine, barefoot, breathless, but unbroken. Beneath their feet, the earth was warm, pulsing as true alive, as though listening. They form a tight cycle around the clay pot, each holding the memory of pain and the hope of release. Above them, the moon cast a silver eyes across the clearing. Oil lamps surround them in a glowing ring, flickering like ancestral witnesses. In the shadows beyond, the three swam, not with wind, but with reverence. Pa Okio, ancient and steady, rise the pot high. His chants were low, guttural, older than language. Then, with slow hands, he poured the portion over their head. It burned like fire, it stung like salt on a wound, it chilled like river water in the lungs. Still, they did not flinch. The wind rose, not sharply, but in a spiral, as if stirred by some unseen hand. The tree bent forward, creaking like old bones, and then, from the darkness, between roots and bark, they emerged. The spirit of the Roko, tall, indistinct, cloaked in smoke and starlight. Their eyes shimmer like constellations. And in their presence, even the flame bow low. Oh. Their voice came as one, echoing like thunder, rolling through a hollow drum. You stand beneath your father's death. He stole the calabash of life, seeking to protect you from hunger. But he defied sacred ground, and the land remembered. The weight of their judgment hung heavy. Efe, her voice trembling but firm, stepped forward. We carry his name, but not his choices. We beg you, see us as we are. Osage moved beside her. We return what was taken in spirit. Let our pain be the offering. Osas and Etse join. We have suffered, we have mourned. Let the chain ends with us. The spirit paused, the silent ringing like a bell. Then one spirit stepped forward, taller than the rest, its face ageless. You point to the pot. Speak as one, break the chain, unbind the earth. The siblings joined hands tightly, forming a full circle, their eyes locked. Together, they inhaled deeply and chanted, voice firm, voice woven. We break the chain of our father's sin. We return what he took. We offer sorrow, strength, and love. Let the land be healed. Let the curse end. Let peace begin. Then the pot shook. A golden mist rose from it, spiral like incense. It wrapped around them, gentle but strong, like the arms of ancestors. The air warm, the lamp flickered, and the spirit washed. Then, one by one, they faded into the starlight tree. The groove exhaled, and the night fell silent. In the days that followed, everything changed. The wind that once carried whisper now carried laughter. The soil once rejected roots now yield with ease. Birds sang louder, fire burned longer, and the people once weary and silent began to speak again, not of curse, but of healing. Osage, once called the unwanted, found something unexpected. He met Amara, the daughter of a healer, whose voice was soft but firm, whose eyes looked past wound and into words. She asked nothing of his past, only of who he was today. Their courtship bloomed like a quiet fire, and even the elders, who once much behind closed doors, smile when they pass. Efe no longer turned from the river. One night, she dreamt of Peter, standing tall at the water edge. He smiled, not with sorrows, but peace. You did well, my love, he said. Let me go. She woke with tears, but they fell like rain on fertile soil. That morning, she began drying fish by the roadside. Her business grew, and so did her joy. Osas, who once closed her windows and kept to her small world, began to wear colors again. She laughed easily, walked boldly, and welcomed Joseph, a trader from Benin City with kind hands and honest eye. When he asked to cut her, she did not run. Their laughter became music in the compound. Oh, this is good. Esenko, who had once been mocked as cursed, returned to the farm. This time, the yam grew tall and strong. Very sweet though. The villagers who once avoided him now stopped to nod, even to ask advice. His hands became trusted. He stood, carved with sacred symbols, began to appear in every compound. And Mama Ekato, their mother, who once wept alone beneath the mango tree, now laughed beneath it, and laughed full of grandchildren, hands full of granite. Her back remained bent, but her heart stood tall. Moonless night, when sleep was deep and peaceful, they all dreamt the same dream. The old woman appeared once more, no longer stooped, but tall and radiant. Her eyes sparkled with starlight, and her voice held no warning this time, only blessing. Above her floated a single white feather, turning slowly in the air. The land is satisfied, she said. Live well, walk lightly, and remember, you are more than what was broken. Then she vanished, and the dream faded into dawn. And so that year, for the first time in decades, Ese hosted Ogbawo's Harvest Festival. The drum beat long into the night. Fire danced like spirit. The village square overflowed with food, water, and joy. And in the center, the siblings dance, arms rise, eyes gleaming, face turned to the stars. Children sing song of healings. Elders clap in rhythms. And the villagers who once whispered of shame now spoke of courage, resilience, and rebirth. Ugbowo had remembered itself not as a village cost, but as a place of redemption, love, and bloodliness made whole. If you carry pain, if curses linger in your bloodline, speak to the sun. Hold it in your hand. Speak your truth. Release it to the earth. Let the wind carry it and bring your healing to life. Use sand to pray. Speak, release, be positive. Words were used to create heaven, earth, and the universe. That person who placed the curse stood on the sand to do it. Use that same sand to undo it. Stop speaking negativity. There is power in you. Your words have power. Your tongue is blessed. Bless the sand you walk on, so it always brings blessings and healing into your life. You have the power to change your path. Just believe. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Come back, because the next video might hold the key you've been waiting for. Thank you. Be blessed.